What's up, everyone? Jim and Laura here to talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and where the Jurassic World franchise goes next. Now, Jurassic World 3 is coming out June 11th, 2021, so we've got a couple of years to wait.
Mark in my calendar.
You do that, you do that. So, now, the end of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, full spoilers ahead, ends with basically the dinosaurs escaping, running amok in the world. This franchise now is taking the story in a direction where it's a global threat and a threat to humanity. Theoretically. So let's get into how can the Jurassic World franchise basically wrap up here, and how are they going to address this sort of new curve that they've thrown in. I will say that director Colin Trevorrow, who directed the first Jurassic World
and co-wrote
and
the
produced
second.
the second one, Fallen Kingdom, has described Jurassic World 3 as being a science thriller in the same way Jurassic Park was. Now, obviously, this one, the park is gone. That's the whole tagline. So, any quick thoughts on where the franchise could go, what it means, all that kind of thing?
I think they're kind of setting it up for kind of maybe not a post-apocalyptic world, but certainly kind of the precursor to that, the kind of Planet of the Apes. Where does it all go wrong? As with Planet of the Apes, you kind of see mankind's hubris, you see technology gone awry, you see, people making the same mistakes over and over again in terms of playing God with these creatures. So I think that that's kind of the only way it can go from here. With the dinosaurs out on the loose, mankind has to live in harmony with them. Haha.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the points that the movie makes, especially with the Jeff Goldblum cameo in his speech before Congress, his testimony, is that the humans can't be trusted with this technology and the threat of proliferation. They were selling the dinos to buyers, and we see Henry Wu running off with the eggs and the embryos again.
Definitely.
Like we were joking that
Woo.
he's like the Hamburglar of the Jurassic Park franchise. He just keeps getting away with the stuff. But now that they're out there, how do you do a science thriller in the vein of Jurassic Park without the park? Because that was that contained threat and the sort of people getting picked off, and there was a way to kind of contain them, study them, stop them. How do you do that if it's just out in the wild? I guess Owen Grady, the Chris Pratt character, is just going to be hunting and training everyone.
Yes, shushing them,
shushing
clicking.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to need a giant clicker clacker.
He is, and a lot of meat to throw at people. It's interesting to think. You kind of want it to have that kind of like Predator reboot aesthetic where they're like in a jungle and like being stalked by the dinosaurs, which I guess is kind of maybe what he was alluding to with Jurassic Park, that it's kind of like the threat is out there and people didn't really know what was going on, or where these dinosaurs were, and they kind of popped up on you. That was kind of the real terror of the first movie, compared to like now, where it's just like we're so used to this franchise that we know, there's a dinosaur lurking behind you in a house or something.
There's also too that giant sea monster, I forget its name, but that thing is on the loose. I mean, that'll be interesting if they even address that or just let that one just stay out there. Like,
just be like the Meg out there.
Be like almost like a Legend of the Seas at that point kind of thing. Or maybe the whole thing turns into like a Moby Dick story, you know? And Blue is like on the ship.
That will be Jurassic World 57, like Jurassic World at sea.
There we go. Hey, don't think they won't do that. So
we expect our check for that idea.
Well, I will say that if they do kind of turn it into sort of a hunter story, there is a little bit of precedent in terms of we've seen the hunter characters before in these stories, but one of the unrealized Jurassic Park 4 ideas was the idea of these sort of dino-human hybrid, like soldier type characters.
Oh God!
So I do wonder, like, how will they actually track them down? Because even though the dinos that escaped had chips, they had to go to the island to track them, right? That's why they needed themselves
I'm still very vague on all of how that worked, and whether, like, if you can make dinosaurs and you can, hybridize them, why can't you retrofit like a tracking device that you can track them out in the wild?
I think, though, the larger threat to humanity, I mean, how do they ultimately do it? Do they have to invent like a virus and put it out there? Like, do they have to contaminate food supply in some weird way? they actually doom humanity more, because it seems like in each one of these Jurassic movies, whenever humanity tries to course correct, they actually just make it worse.
We're great at that.
Yeah. Do you think Goldblum's character Ian Malcolm will play a bigger role in the next one? Is he kind of the...
It would be nice to see him used a little deeper than the kind of, elder statesman wagging his finger and warning people role that he got this time around. I think that he could kind of be out there in the trenches. Like, not this again, like an old Indiana Jones.
But, okay, if you're Henry Wu, though, and you're the guy running around with all the embryos and all that, and, he was kind of warning them against selling the prototype and all that. So, sort of, what's his motivation? I guess the next time is what exactly? Like, he's going to profit off it, but if they're already out there in the wild and the world is freaking out, why would people want to buy them?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
Or does it turn into, like, if I can buy a dino and train them to protect me from other dinos?
Mine's bigger than yours.
Does it turn into like an arms race thing then, maybe?
Or even if he has the kind of dino DNA, then he could be the one to weaponize the virus or something that might take them out, because he has the chemicals that might, be a weakness.
Or they find some way, like, ultimately, I mean, they do have that line in this movie about how long can they last in the wild, and I think it's Zia, I think that was her name. It has the line about, well, if you gave a caveman health care and
perfect conditions for survival.
that you could live a long time. So, maybe they'll just try and find a way to make it so that they can't breed anymore or anything like that. But that would kind of tie it back to the first movie too.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't really have any further thoughts except for it's all going to get very Planet of the Apes-y.
Yeah, I think that's the only way that they can go, unless they go like full Mad Max post-apocalyptic, like wearing dinosaur skulls on their heads and worshipping who knows what. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they look, not to throw another franchise in here, but Pacific Rim Uprising did kind of touch on that with the idea of kaiju worshippers.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
I mean, if they wanted to keep this franchise going for, you know, as long as it makes money, there are a lot of different ways that they can go.
Like Blue becomes like a total like pop culture celebrity, does like the talk show circuit.
Yes, yes, I'd watch that.
All right, well, those are our meager thoughts on where the Jurassic World franchise could go from here. Did you like the ending of this movie? Where do you want to see them go? How does the dinosaur threat to the world get sort of addressed and resolved in the next one? Let us know in the comments. For more on Jurassic World, check out our review of the movie, as well as our explainer piece on the ending. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe on whatever platform you like to watch IGN.